Hi everyone. To get started, I would like to mention a few things I remembered and felt were important about assessment when reading the Burt and Payton article. They explain the different types of literacy and their effect on L2 acquisition. At the ELI, we do placement tests to determine a student's level, and I'm directly involved in the placement process, administering tests, checking them with my colleagues for deciding appropriate placement, etc. If I was not so directly involved, however, I would definitely want to begin all of my courses with a basic reading and writing assessment. During my first teaching job ever, I encountered a student who failed my class 3 times, unfortunately. Um, During the last time through before I stopped working there, he told me offhand that he had stopped going to school when he was 8 years old to start working and helping his family. If I had known this sooner, I could have helped him better, but due to my inexperience, I hadn't even thought he may not have had full fluency in his native language. This is something I will always keep in mind as I move forward in assessing the reading and writing of my students. To do an initial literacy assessment, I would have them write as much as they can about themselves. I know there's danger in memorized language, but it's still applicable just to see how they write, grammatical mistakes, spelling errors, or anything else that would be telling about their previous literacy experience. For example, if they are in an intermediate class and making beginner-level mistakes, that is pretty telling. So my current group of students are all literate, some are non-alphabet literate, and the rest except for one are non-Roman alphabet literate. My one student who speaks French is Roman alphabet literate. I have 10 students who are all CEFR level B1 or low intermediate. Some important reading skills at this level I think would be paraphrasing, visualizing, and fluency. Paraphrasing can be practiced by having students read a passage and then have them explain it in only 2 or 3 sentences what the paragraph was about. You can make it interactive by asking a student to explain what a passage was about, and then have another student reword what the first student said. Synonym building activities would be helpful here. Find some common adjectives that are used in the text, and then have them try to find some synonyms for them. And then use them in a sentence. Having students rearrange parts of a sentence would be helpful, and this can be done with any kind of text for practice. Changing around the subjects, changing around the verbs that you use, all of these things would be helpful. For the next one, visualizing would be very useful to improve at this level, as these students have begun reading novels in their reading and writing classes. It's easier to read fact-based articles, but when the text is describing the experience of a character interacting with the world, it can be much more challenging to understand exactly what's happening, especially with more flowery language. The Tannenbaum article points out some great activities that can help with visualization, including drawing a picture of specific scenes, or any other activities that are happening in the book. Another task that can be helpful is labeling a diagram of characters. Completing key places on a map or matching descriptions to places or people. Tannenbaum also mentions a pictorial journal, which could be extremely helpful with take-home reading assignments. The only danger would be students who are not artistically inclined, or students who are more serious might find some problems with spending time in class drawing. So I think while this can be really good, it should be used carefully as to not be overdone and make students think that they are not, learning as much as they could. I think with younger students it would be really, really helpful, but with older students you just have to be careful. But because of this, that's why labeling pictures or places can still kind of provide the same sort of features, or, present 3 or 4 different people doing different things and ask, okay, which one of these happened in the novel? The last one be fluency, and we've talked about fluency in the past, but I think fluency is still also an important skill, especially at this stage, because it will help them further prepare for higher education, which most of them are en route for. Fluency drills can include timed readings, counting read words, using closed activities, or varying kinds to help students use closing activities of various kinds to help students realize they don't need to give equal emphasis to every word while reading, just as you don't give equal emphasis to each word while speaking. Close activities with deleting every 5th word or deleting content words, as Harold describes, will definitely increase fluency. There are a lot of other skills, which I think are important, but those three, paraphrasing, visualizing, and fluency, I think are the most important. Okay, and thank you for listening. I will see you guys later.